Some of y'all is blessed and some of y'all is messy. Hey y'all. In this interview, I'm going to discuss the YNW Melly, his manager, Track 100K Track, his interview on Law and Crime Network. So Track did an interview on the Law and Crime Network, and I'm going to go over it. Let's talk about it. Before I do a deep dive into Jameson Francois, or as some of y'all call him, Officer Jameson Francois, interview on the Law and Crime Network, I am going to stay to the end because I am going to address Spoon 510. He is YNW, rest in peace, YNW. He is YNW's dad. I'm also going to touch on a little bit of Marita Boy. But first, let me talk about the YNW Track interview on the Law and Crime Network. Okay, so Track did an interview, and Track does interviews. He's not shying away from the interviews. And some people say, oh, well, he's clout chasing or he's seeking fame or money. Everybody wants clout. Everybody wants fame. Everybody wants money because when you have those things, even if you want to be low key, you are treated better in this society. Melly, YNW Melly, is on trial accused of killing his childhood friends, YNW Sack Chaser, rest in peace, and YNW Juvie, rest in peace. But the reason why he is getting treated better because he has money and fame. If he was a black man on trial and he didn't have any money or fame or clout, he would be treated just like every other black man in the criminal justice system. I like the way Track carries himself. Track is a real low-key type of guy. You kind of don't know how to read him. It's something up with Track, but you just don't know what that thing is up with it. But one of the things I'll say about I'll keep wanting to say YNW Track, but one of the things about YNW Melly, the people who roll with him, they roll with him. Fredo Bang got that song Free Melly. YNW Track, he's out there doing PR. Yeah, we had Sunday dinners. The interviewer asked her, she said, well, what's next? If YNW Melly gets out and YNW Bortlen gets out, what's next? He was like, oh, we're gonna take over the world. We're gonna some kind of way he phrased it. He explained Melly spotted dancing in a music video shortly after his friends were found unalive. But I'll say this: he said that Track said that he wanted to shut everything down. He said that Melly wanted to just keep up with his appointments. He said that people cope with grief and loss differently, which we know that to be true. Some people's responses to loss, death, and grief aren't the responses we would have, but I always try to see both sides of the coin. So after this event, Melly is at a music video. What do you do in music videos? You sing and you dance. And you got to have moves, your dancing moves. So he could have been practicing for the video. Bortlen, if that's Bortlen standing to the right, he seemed kind of laid back, but people process things differently. Now, those of you who have already convicted Melly in the court of public opinion, y'all would say he was dancing and celebrating. One of the things in the interview that 100K Track played down is the friction between YNW Sack and Jamie. Based on what we've seen on social media from Jamie King and YNW Sack Chaser, clearly they didn't get along. But at one time or another, they did get along. I recall Jamie saying in the interview that when YNW Melly was locked up, that her and Sack Chaser, she would go pick Sack Chaser up and they would go visit Melly. So clearly at one point they did get along. But in regards to Track 100K Track's interview, I thought he did a decent job. I mean, keep in mind, he is an artist. He is a manager. He started out as an artist. He wanted to do a feature or something with the rapper Kodak Black. He went and paid him $500 to do this feature, and as a result of him being connected to Kodak Black, he became connected to Vaughn, and then YNW Melly. Track is still a very young man. He was born in 91, so he's probably, my math is off, what, 32, 33. He's a very young man. I like the way Track carry himself because in life you have to know how to express yourself, how to carry yourself, to use emotional intelligence. Y'all say what y'all will about Track, but Track demonstrates, in some occasions, he demonstrates emotional intelligence. That just means he knows how to read the room. He knows how to say this or say that or say nothing, and he demonstrates that. And some people, they don't have emotional intelligence, and that's been their downfall. And frankly, from everything I've known, just from following this case for the past 4 or 5 years, everything I've known about all of these young men involved, from YNW Melly to YNW Bortlen to YNW Sack Chaser to YNW Juvie, they were very young men at the time of their unalive, and they were like 19, I believe. Sack was 21, Melly was 19, I believe. YNW Bortlen was 19. So they very young men, and they come from trouble and humble beginnings. So it's difficult to know how to carry yourself, how to express yourself. Melly seemed to understand how to express himself through his art, and the rest of them also through their art. But in some situations, they wasn't at a maturity level. They just wasn't at a maturity level. And Sack, they say that all the rest of the group except Bortlen, they didn't like Track. I would say if it wasn't for Track, Melly would have $0. Melly would be he would have gave all his money to his friends. So I think you needed that person. I think Track is still young. So Track got a lot of, he still got a lot of growing to do. But I think the way he carries himself is a lot better than some people carry themselves. Speaking of the way people carry themselves, I was listening to 510 Spoon, who is Juvie's daddy, Christopher Thomas Sr. I was watching or listening to his rant on YouTube, and although he's kind of funny, although he can also tell good stories like Marita Boy, he kept calling me the B word. He's like, "Bitch." He calls women, he used that word, he throw that word around like you throw a TikTok in your mouth. He will use the B word in a minute. He was very, very upset with one of the videos that I did. But I'll say this to Christopher Thomas Sr. I say, and I continue to say, I feel your pain. I feel the mother's pain. Rest in peace to your son. I don't think the stuff about your daughter, this was the right time to bring that out. But it got brought out and you haven't addressed it. I don't feel like you have to address it. But I think this is what I'm talking about men not knowing how to express themselves. So you get mad at everybody. First of all, I think you are obsessed with Jamie King. You're obsessed with her because everything you do, you don't realize how many times you say that woman's name. You have a fixation on that woman. I don't know what that woman put on you, but she put something on you because you love that woman more than life itself, and nobody can tell me anything differently. So I'll catch like Marita Boys live or Spoon 510, Spoonful of Games live, basically to put me to sleep. To hear all this rambling put me to sleep. I think they both are great storytellers. I think they both, the word they fly around, the N word and the B word, it's a lot. I'm not a prude, but it's a lot. They still at it. They still got each other's name in each other's mouth. Even if they try not to say the other's name, they throw digs. They take shots at each other all the time. So that is ongoing. That's not something that's going to... but I want to say this to you, Mr. Spoon 510. You ain't got to be calling me no B's. You are a public figure, whether you like it or not. It's unfortunate how you became a public figure with the loss of your son, but you're also a YouTuber. So therefore, you're a public figure. People are going to express their opinion, or as my mama would say, pass their opinion on public figures. You showed your information that your channel is growing, that you got 1 million views. So that makes you a public figure. You can't just want the sugar and not want the salt. or not want the bitter. You can't just want the sweet and not want the bitter. If you want the sweet, you want the bitter. So if you want people to praise you, people are going to also criticize you. You're a public figure, so deal with it. So all the B words and your fixation with Jamie, what it is, what it is. But I'll say this. Some of y'all is blessed. I'm blessed. And some of y'all is messy. Stay blessed at least 80% of the time. But 20% of the time, make sure a person know they can get it. They can get it. Stay blessed. Y'all subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button and maybe even share. You can share it with your cousin. I heard Nick at Night say, share it with your mama. It helps YouTubers to grow. Right now, what I'm doing with this channel is whenever court is on a recess or there's a break, I'm doing my rambling thoughts, just my little freestyle from San Diego. I'm freestyling and I'm blessed. Y'all have a great day. And remember, stay blessed, stay away from messy. Give a like, leave a comment.